Hey, True Believers England team here. I'm in a weird situation. Dom has bowed out. Not Dom. Dalton has bowed out. Dom's not here yet. This, I think, is his pick. See, when we were talking about doing this, what you're reading, or from the long box, whatever we're calling it, where we talk about some rarish, lesser known comics or cult classics, as it would be, we went, okay, this is your pick. This is my pick. This is Dalton's pick. This is your pick. My pick, Dom. And this one, I believe, is Dom's pick. It's called Metabarons, which is something, in all honesty, I think somebody a long time commissioned me to do a review of it. So here it is. And apparently I'm flying solo as well, by the way. Got my tea, and I am all prepared to go. Oh, I put it in the freezer. There you go. I got to break through the ice here. Now, one of the weird positions I'm in, there's not a lot I could show you about this book. Hey, One Slick, what's up? This is I could show you some, but this is a weird book where we are looking at what's yes, I did, One Slick. I got the payment. Thank you very much. This is a weird book. We start off, we see like a father and son, and they're removing the head. It's got all sorts of mechanicals in it. And then we cut to two robots, and they're talking about this bizarre thing where these humans are replacing body parts with mechanics and what's going on with it. It's ultimately bizarre. Let me share out the first issue. I think the first issue is kind of safe. I don't want to give too much away of this beforehand. Is that the actual book, or is that it's issue number 2? Did I even open number 1? Hold on just a second, gang. Let me make sure I've got. Is that issue number 1 here? That's issue number 2. There we go. I read the trade paperbacks, by the way. So I had to look around and go, okay, which one is which, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And, okay, so am I sharing it proper? Yeah, cool. Let me bring down the book so I can watch your comments while I'm doing this. Let me tell you something. This is epic. No other panels tonight. It's old school. It's just me. Dom is, I left the link. Dom's going to show up. Dalton said he's got other stuff to do. And if it turns out where I start just reading stuff and doing reviews of comics like the old days, I'm A-okay with it. So once again, I do believe this was Dom's pick. It starts off, man, and at first I'm thinking this is weird. You got the father, you got the son, and they're replacing body parts with mechanics and everything. And you got these two robots who are talking to each other about this, about how weird it is that these meat puppets, whatever, are doing this. So the little robot right here begins to tell him the tale of the Metabarons. Othon von Salza, my master's great-great-grandfather, was once an intergalactic pirate who finally succeeded in winning the hand of beautiful but indomitable Lady Edna. Okay, so absolutely no, exactly, right. This is 100% pure American. Have any of you guys read the Metabarons? This is wild stuff, man. So they go back and they start telling the story of this family and how they are pirates. And the weird thing is, it gets to this planet, and they've got all these blocks. They're building something, and they've got all these floating blocks and everything. And that comes into play later as well. Except for at some point in time, one of them lands on someone, and because everybody in the world's watching, they're talking about, well, he's dead. And somebody's like, wait, we could use the serum. And, they keep this serum under wraps. Like, what the hell is it? There is no point in using hyperlasers. Don't fool yourself. Even if your husband is still alive, he'd run out of air before we could get to him. And he's like, we've got to save him. Let's use the secret oil. And everybody's like, whoa, what secret oil? What do you mean? There's no secret. And I'm like, oh, it's Dune. I'm like, it's a father and son teaching each other how to be warriors. We're learning about the royal family. They go to a certain planet, and the word about the secret spice comes out, and the royal family gets attacked, as you see. because everybody sees that they raised this guy from the dead by using this secret oil instead of spice or whatever it is in Dune. It's this secret life-giving oil. Didn't the artist from this leave comics and start designing game? Maybe, I don't know. This, I'm telling you, I came into this very, very blue. Blue? No, green. Yeah. I've never read this before. Never, ever read this. I've heard of it after I was commissioned a long, long time ago. If you've ever noticed, I don't go after Ethan because he was late. Yeah, this is kind of the thing here. So anywho, we learn about the family and such, and they actually get attacked, and most of them get wiped out. By the way, this is also something. The grandfather, after he's beaten by the son absorbs his presence and his soul, basically, and he's destroyed as soon as, at the same time, the planet is attacked. Now, one thing I wondered here is this big-ass army attacks this world, and he's like, you go this way, you go that way, I'm going to go underground, and, we'll see what happens. And so they go about this. Oh, that's the end of the first book. I read, I think the first 4 books. And, yeah, so let me get to that one, I guess. This is wild stuff, man. Seriously. Okay, let me share out the second one. This might be the quickest because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to share this with you, man. I really want to talk about this because it's so wild. And I got to tell you, for some of it, I'm reading it. I'm like, the freaking heck is going on here? It doesn't make sense. What's going on? That was my reaction to a lot of it. I just didn't think this story made a lot of sense. Like, what are we looking for? Why are they doing what they're doing? There's a lot of that kind of stuff, because for some of it, it really does feel like the writer, this Andrew Jodorowsky, it's like he said, hey, you know what? That'll be cool. Let me put that in there. But anyway, this dude, he sends his troops. You flank them on the left. You flank them on the right. I'm going to go underground and meet them in the middle. And there's like 1,500 people. They actually say something like that. 1,500 people that this guy is about to fight. And it's like, okay, 3-4 panels. It's this right here. You see him, he's jumping in and he's just tearing them all up. Nobody's even holding him down for a second. The robots say, and that is how Othon von Salva, my master's great ancestor, vanquished some 1,500 Indo guards, seeking and finding tiny chinks in their allegedly impenetrable armor and plunging his minuscule steel dagger. Oh, yeah, they do say that. He goes in there to fight these 1,500 people with a dagger. Into them with a superhuman precision. You must be so proud of him, Tonto. That Tonto's the name of the little droid. So I was thinking, this has to be because he's telling the story, way back in the past and such. It doesn't say it anywhere, but you got to think this is one of those things like Davy Crockett killed him a bar when he was only 3. It's got to be one of those things where it's the myth rather than the actual story. Okay. But yeah, it talks about just basically him holding off the Empire from his planet. And he goes to his son and he's like, you know what? With all that, we're still going to have to compromise. He says, I understand your feelings, my son, but I must tell you that despite everything, we will have to negotiate with the Empire. Yeah. Despite everything, our epiphyte will be tarnished. By virtue of interstellar spies, word of the great deeds of Othon, the new Baron of the Casket, spread across the entire galaxy. And he meets up with the Imperial family, and they end up making a deal. We're your Majesty's most loyal servants. All we ask is a reasonable percentage of the sale of this energy that has given life to the dead, and a new fertile planet for my son and me, to which we could transfer our fortress stone by stone. Now, I thought it was going to be like when they transfer the fortress, maybe that's what makes this energy. You're going to see it just a little bit. Excuse the yawning. Let's see. It looks interesting for sure. Yeah, it is. It actually is. But what are we talking about? Grizzly Adams did have a beard. What are we talking about Grizzly Adams for? I've heard of the mayor, but I've never seen a physical. I've seen one. It was a box set at a warehouse sale, and it was one of those where on day one everything is 30% off. On day two it's 50. On day three it's 75. It's 25, 50, and 75. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get this tomorrow when it's 50% off. But somebody thought, because it was like $125 for the box set. And apparently somebody thought 25% off was just dandy. So they picked that up. I got to tell you, though, I'm interested in the Grizzly Adams conversation, though. Sorry, I'm taking a drink, and I always put my tea. I always put my tea in the freezer for about an hour, maybe an hour and a half before I go on. So it's kind of ices up a little bit. You were talking about grandiose storytelling. Oh, like David Crockett. Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah. I used to watch Grizzly Adams quite a bit, by the way. I also watch Davy Crockett, and it's those are two of my favorite movies of all time. Are they? But let's face it, it's a movie I saw as a kid. It's 1950s, I believe. It's not one, I don't put it on all the time, but I can watch it any day of the week. It really is good. Okay, so they ask him, and he says, I want a present for Barry, one that will restore the joy that his two broken legs took away. And so they go back and they show them this energy source, which is very important to their planet. The Imperial family agrees. And boom, they get their own planet as promised. And what happens is they brought to life a very rare horse, and they give it to the son. And okay, so I'm trying to remember what happens. Oh yeah, they get attacked, and the father, there's four people, they're coming in to steal something, and as they're going, the father's like, oh hell no, not in my house. So he rushes out and he kills them, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, but it turns out he spears his own son, killing him. And so he's oh, and by the way, as he kills his own son, he gets blasted in the crotch. Okay, this is very important to the story. He gets blasted in the freaking crotch. His balls, dick, and everything is gone, right? You even see him patching himself up. And Othan von Sal has turned his back on pure martial arts, invested a large part of his fabulous fortune in the development of his first metabaric weapons, and also began the tradition of cybernetic implants. Well, yeah, he wanted his pelvis. He wanted a pelvic region. And that's how book 2 ended. Now, I can't show you book 3. And I for sure can't show you book 4. Because book 3 is him going to war because he lost his dick. He lost his heir and he lost his dick. So now he's pissed at the world and he's going to war. As far as I know, from here on out, because I've only read the 4 books, this entire story is a man who's going to get revenge on the universe because his dick got shot off. This is it, man. I mean, it's just a wild freaking book. I'm telling you. Let's see. Okay, I got here. I'm seeing Byzantines in space as a Protestant. I'm disappointed, but as a Christian, as a Protestant, but as a Christian, I'm pleased. Let's see. Absolutely, I wanted to live in the mountains with a bear because I know, right? It looks so peaceful. Let me just hang out around this bear. Didn't Grizzly Man in the 1990s teach us that was a bad idea? I like Ron White's joke about him. He says, the Grizzly Man had the same conversation with his father. With his father looked at him, he goes, "You ain't gonna be shit." Well, Dad. Yeah. Okay, the person without balls killing their own son still fits well with the Byzantine. Was that what I'm reading? Because I'm watching, I was going, yeah, this is, as soon as the, I stopped thinking it was Dune, as soon as the balls and the dick got blown off, and it all becomes about a guy trying to get revenge on the world because his dick and balls got blown away. I get in the stream and the first thing I hear is Byzantines in space. You have my full attention. It's a wild story. Let me see if I can't share some of book 3. Let's see, book 3. Okay. So I read volume 1, which is apparently book 1 through 4, and part of volume 2. So really, I probably read up to book 5, but I'm going to stop around here because I'm seriously nervous. Let's see how it starts again. A harsh wind sweeps across the smooth, tough low. Okay. This is about the bug. A gust of wind bears a Zacuta frolics, the last of its kind, dropping through one of the ventilation hatches, and it sits there forever and ever. But before it dies, it lays a single egg. Then a period of artificial rain passes, bringing evenings cast in red dying sun. One fine day, the egg hatches, and a giant Zacuta Rolex. So that was a thing that happened. But what it does, it actually gets into a smashes itself against billion controls, reactivating an attack program, calling the 3 proto-nuclear units. They're attacking, so they need to send out the Metabaron, which is the figure you see on the cover of the first thing. He comes out, and he's got 3 hours to destroy the army, and he does. So this is not a story about whether or not the Metabarons can survive. This is like the second time you see one character destroying like thousands and thousands and thousands of people all at once. Hold on, let me pull this down so I could also see comments. All righty. Let's see here. Way, my heart's on fire. All right. Rhaegar Nominus Dominating. What? Rhaegar, you are now my. What are we talking about? Spacentines. Hey, there you go. No Angletean. The Byzantines were a historical empire, and this is still probably Dune. I don't know. It may not be, because I don't remember the part in Dune where the guy gets his blown off. Just saying. All righty. So what is this? As I told you, Othon von Salza, the great ancestor of the current Metabaron, our master, turning his back on pure martial arts, invested a large part of his fabulous fortune in the development and construction of the first Metabaronic weapons. Of course, that's talking about his own cybernetics. He has these women that he hangs around with. My gosh, I'm going to get in trouble because they never wear clothing. Yeah, I'm trying to. Okay, we got this. I'm trying to remember what happened. I just read this morning. I'm telling you, a lot of when I was reading, I'm going, what the fudge is going on here? But anywho, look, I can go off on this thing for a while, but I will say this. This is wild, man. It really is. This is a wild book. This is what I like about independent comics. You know, oh yeah, that's right. He, there you go. The empire is being attacked, and he's got a plan, so he goes in. At one point in time, the empire has become nothing more than a seething den of traitors. The imperial couple has been forced to call upon the help of civilians. How humiliating. And he says, my instinct will guide my ship, and he plugs the ship into his penis. And I'll show them a thing or two. Those great warriors are more impotent than I am. I remember that. I remember thinking very much so that this is a very phallic ship he's flying around. So I'm like, holy crap, we turned into Flesh Gordon from the 1980s. It was so freaking weird, man. This is, yeah, anywho, he goes to see the imperial couple, and they're like, you can't come through. He's like, horse shit. And he goes, just walks on up. And he says, I got a goddamn plan for those Tremor fans. And basically takes nothing. He goes out and he destroys the enemy. There is no tension in this book, by the way. There isn't. Oh, by the way, tell me this isn't phallic. There is this kind of thing. I can't even show you The frickin' spaceship has a vagina, by the way. If you're not seeing that, if you're not noticing, this is the most sexualized spaceship since Battle Beyond the Stars. Look it up. The spaceship has boobs. Okay. This book is all about the books. It becomes about dick and balls. That's what it is. That's what this ship comes in. I don't care what story they started. This book became about dick and balls. That's all. This is Dom's pick. I wish you were here because I would love to get a couple of things explained to me here. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. That's most famous gang sign. Trimmers. MK has a trimmer. Okay. Let me scroll up here. Let's see. We got the Sups. I just got here and Austin stormed up gang signs. Really? Okay. Let's see. What else do we got? I would unironically pay for a comic about some kind of space war between HRE and the Byzantines called and the Caliphate. You know what? This might be it. Like you said, you attach that. Other than Dune, I was not able to grasp what I was reading for a lot of it. It's just, I'm like, this is wild. This is I said that about 1,000 times now. This is a crazy story and I'm there for it. You know, it's when you've been reading comic books for as long as I have, it's been 50 years now. I think 51 even, because when I got that book, very happy. I thought Plastic Man was in that book that I'm reading it right now, but he's not. But when you've been reading comic books for as long as I have, it's hard to surprise. It's hard to find that thing that makes you go, oh, okay, cool. This does it. And I've seen crazy stuff, and I've seen the over-sexualized, I've seen the over-violent. But it's something when all that kind of stuff is brought in, and it's a story that you want to follow, you know? Oh, and okay, so here to explain what we just looked at, ladies and gentlemen, Dominic, what the honest did you make me read, boy?
Well, I appreciate John's reaction.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Well, although I caught the message that you sent me in the DMs a little late because I didn't know it started.
Yeah,
I was keeping an eye on the time. But I didn't get the notification.
Yeah, it got to the point where it was either start or don't start, so I just jumped right on in. I leave you the floor for a bit, dude, because I read the first 5 issues, I guess, because I read they each were 70 pages. I thought they were just thick issues, but apparently I was reading the trade paperbacks.
So you read beyond the first 3.
Yeah, I'm like on book 5, maybe even 6 right now. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, you're certainly going ahead. I just read the first 3 issues.
What is your take on Metabarons?
Well, if you ask me, it's a timeless classic of the Bond Designate. It's an epic science fantasy, and it's filled with twists and turns that you can't help but continue on turning the page because you want to know what happens next.
Yeah, that is true about that. I mean, one could say that about it, and one could say it's a book about a guy who's pissed at the universe because he lost his junk. Because, I mean, I can't show very much of issues 3 and 4 because what I did show was you have a very phallic spaceship and it's flying into another spaceship, and the other spaceship is a vagina.
Yeah, I remember when I first read Metabarons. I was like shocked. I was shocked because I knew about Metabarons for years through cultural osmosis, and I read it, read to see if the hype was real, and it was and still is. But yeah, to those like who don't read a lot of like bande dessinées, aka European comics, I was like, it'll be surprised, but also understand on how and why comics made in Europe, like in different parts, are like operate under a different level than say over here in the States.
Yeah, I did. I think I've got two maybe comic book origins that are based on French comics. One, it's about this very busty young lady in the city that learns how to fly dragons. I forgot the title of it. And the other one was Marsupilami. This is way out there, man.
Now,
This,
Marshall
yeah.
Bellamy and Lucky Luke,
Mhm.
and of course Tintin, like those three were essentially my gateways to Bond Disney's.
Yeah. So he wins the war for the the empire, and he talks about how he's lonely. He hasn't been with a woman, and he can't because, of course, he got his junk blown off. And they send this character here, which this is as far as it goes. This is as far as it goes. It turns out she's a witch, and she is a gift for him. If I yeah, I can't. I want to show more because I like the visuals of the comic book, but unfortunately, he holds a sword to her and he cuts away the outfit, and then she's full on naked, and she says because she's a witch, he says, I can't give you a kid, I can't make you pregnant. And she goes, well, yes, you can. Just give me a drop of your blood. Whoop! And they put it on in there, and she gets pregnant. Yeah, because she's a witch and she can do that. And so the kid is born, and he ends up being, because I forget what the cause of it was, but he wants a warrior. He wants his kind of people. And it turns out it's, of course, because it was born of the witch, it's a mix, and the baby is born lighter than air. And because of that, he can't be a true warrior because he doesn't have the weight and everything that you need, the grounding that you would need to do that. So he says he wants to kill the baby. The witch stops him, saying, look, this is it. I can't do that trick again. So I'll teach him how to be a warrior in my race. And the guy goes, okay, I'm going to come back. I'm going to try to kill him. If I do, right? And that's where I left off. That is when it was like, oh crap, we got to get this thing started. So this is really turning out to be an exciting book. Yesterday, and you guys, a lot of you guys are there. We were talking about Bone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to attach this. I'm going to attach this book to Bone, by the way. Bone is an incredible book, but the thing about it is, it starts off kind of almost like a cartoonish kind of comic book, but as the issues go, it becomes very much like a Lord of the Rings / Wizard of Oz battle for survival. And the whole thing, though, is one story. You've got chapters for sure, but it's one story, and the changes are permanent. It's also a finite story. There's only like 55 issues in Bone. Once the story was done, it's done. So it does have the weird things happen, and it just keeps progressing. It keeps progressing. The characters, everything that happens to them is permanent. It's not Superman where, oh, I'm dead one day, I'm back the next. And this is the way Metabarons is playing out. This is an epic story of what looks like a family, definitely centered around the one guy, the one dude. Bone was very much like that. It's an epic story. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm liking this, because part of it is this is just crazy. Sometimes I was wanting to check out, but sometimes I was like, no, this is just, I have to find out what's going on next.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll leave to you, see if you want to reply there.
Oh yeah, like I said, with Metabarons, it is definitely a timeless classic that really made its mark, and not just on the European side of the West, but also like outside of like where it was initially released. And if you read like any other like comic books, graphic novels, manga, or even films, TVs, or video games, you can tell that some of the creators, like men and women alike, they were heavily heavily inspired by Metabarons.
Yeah, you saw the art as I was showing it. You guys saw the art and such. It's a beautiful book as well. It's a very well drawn book. So I don't know, man. I'm looking forward to the rest. It's the rest of it. It's kind of it is an odd duck though. It's not for if you are strictly capes and cowls, which by the way, hey, that's okay too. I don't know if it'll appeal to you, but if you like the epic adventure stuff, if you like the stuff that tries to be a story, I'm trying to think, like Cerebus, I guess, would be the same thing, where it was just one long story. There's not a lot of them out there, are there? This is it. We're not going to interact. It's not like we're going to face the Joker every 6 or 7 issues or something. I don't want to put down regular. I love regular comics as well, but this is I guess it would be like an anime or a manga where
manga would be more accurate.
Yeah, because that's the book part, right? Anime's cartoon. Yeah. Let me get some chat here. Don't worry about it. We in the comments just discovered that we're all a bunch of medieval Christian monarchy fans, except maybe Spiffy being a Protestant and all. Alrighty, a book about penis envy. It does seem to be. It really does. Is there Mr. Tickleballs in the book? Yeah. Twig and Berries, the Fruit Basket. By the way, I did see Fruit Basket. My daughters were a big fan of that anime. This book isn't as crazy as that book about only black people getting powers a few years back, is it? Well, no. See, that one sucked. That was
objectively, and also it's also very very racist. And yet the creators involved, like they don't see it, which showcases like how really how ignorant they are. I
forgot what the guy's name was, but he was always writing about how white people.
Which again, which is very racist, and yet if you say that to his face, it's like he will like be very defensive until.
But he wasn't just racist towards white people; he was racist towards black people because there was still slavery. Think about how awesome white people have to be if they're enslaving superheroes. Seriously. Or people with superpowers, whether they're villains or not. This whole universe, we're talking about the black universe, not Metabarons. This whole universe has white people still enslaving black people, even though the black people are superpowered. It's like all these people who go, black people invented that, and black people invented that when, it's stuff that we obviously know they didn't. And I'm thinking, you guys know you're just making us look better. I mean, if you were so awesome and you invented the world, the barbarians were at the gate and we took you. I mean, it's so freaking racist when people say that. All righty, let's see. England T got sick of watching Spaceballs and he showed us balls in space. I just think there's too many ninjas in Mortal Kombat at this point, says Rhaegar. MK, of course, I like more ninjas at this point. Every color, just about. We still need a gold ninja. Yeah, but isn't like 4 or 5 characters? They're all exactly the same characters. Tony Hayes is saying, in the movie Young Guns 2, what was the tobacco pouch made of that Pat Garrett found while looking for Billy the Kid? It was a bull sack. MK, I'm pretty sure the TV show you're looking for is called Power Rangers. I never got into that. I was way too old for it. I would love to see the original because I know, like, even with Gatchaman, which is Battle of the Planets, and I loved it as a kid.
Mhm.
I know that what I got was the childed down, the
Super Sentai.
the watered down version for
Watered down.
children. Yeah. Yeah. So I would love to see what the original looked like. The writer you could say the writer was compensating for something. Very David Cronenbergian, says Rhaegar. Actually, that is kind of, yeah. The Metabarons, if you were to make a movie, David Cronenberg would be the person you would want to direct it. I believe that now. Yes.
Well, I mean, you're not that far out because this is science fantasy, but unlike Star Wars, whereas like this one has more like political intrigue, thriller, and I really feel like characters that you can't that you can tell like either the good, evil, or neutral, but there are characters within Metabarons that are the central focus. As for the body horror, yeah, like the body horror aspect really plays into the science fantasy of the world of Metabarons very well.
Yeah. And Cronenberg has done so many of those movies. Spiffy says Rhaegar never got into Naruto. All talking to each other there after the Gara fight. I have never seen an episode of Naruto ever. I've got books 1 through 3 upstairs. I haven't read it either. I remember the Nickelodeon cartoon Lami wasn't my thing, but I recalled it. I did not know of it. That was just one thing. Somebody commissioned it as a. They went over to Ko-Fi, dropped the $5, and said, "Do a comic book origin of Marsupilami." They did that with Metabarons as well, by the way. And here it is. It just so happened that I forgot about it. And when Dominic mentioned, I went, "Oh, finally!" And what I think is kind of funny about it is that for the whole showing off and doing the review and everything, I was solo for most of it. So there you go. I think it worked out all right. Let's see. Never watched Naruto. I just know it has ninjas. Spiffy Gonzalez says, Austin, when the pirates left France, the balls left with them. I talked about how it's basically a guy who lost his dick and balls and now he's going out for revenge. We're not getting past that, Dom. Let's see. The French have been coasting on fries for a long time, but it was the Belgians who made the French fries first. Let's see. Other than interesting, because let me tell you, the books I've read from France, which this is number 3. Well, that's not true. Dylan Dog Dead of Night was from France as well, isn't it? Or was it Italian?
Oh, no. No, you would think so, but Dylan Dog actually came from Italy.
Italy, yeah.
Yeah, but he is popular in France.
We'll just say European. They're all the same. Well, they voted to be the same culture, didn't they? Let's see. I need to finish Bone. I read volume 1 as a kid, and I loved it. It's truly one of my favorite books of all time. I went off yesterday because I showed a cover in one of the rankings, and I couldn't believe people were giving it a 2. And I was kind of, how is this a 2? I was losing my shit over it. By the way, I even told Art, I'm going to give you guys a little bit behind the scenes. What I said, I truly believe. I hate the fact that Bone has become disliked on this channel. Like the message of I Love Comics is that it's a horrible story, and I don't like that being the message coming from my channel. But it doesn't bother me that you guys don't like it. It will not change the fact that I love it. You know, I have it on my shelf. I'm gonna pull it down and read it. I do play stuff up sometimes for comedic effect. That being said, when we do the cover ranking, all I ask is actually do the cover ranking. You know. But I truly recommend Bone as a story. It's an amazing book.
It really is.
And the character progression is so good in that book. And I want to keep it on this one. I want to keep it on Metabarons. And I have to say, I would like to see a little more character progression as I go with, if we're following this guy who lost his dick and he's creating a kid and all that, he needs character progression, because he started off one way and now 5 issues in, he's exactly the same way. People around him have changed, which I'm thinking would lead to, I would kill him off. He's not the story. He's the one that gets us to the story. It's kind of like, what was it? Jason Isaacs? No, not Jason Isaac. The father in Dune. He's followed around as the main character, and then he's taken out, and now we follow the kid. And I think they should do
Paul Atreides.
Yeah. I think that kind of thing has to happen, because this guy could very quickly become a one-note pony.
Well, I can understand why he can come up that way, but he is actually a flat arc character.
Hold on just a second.
All
I'm
right,
not going far.
Let's see what we got here. More comments.
I actually thought about, I thought, how desperate would it be for me to do a Bone comic every day or every other day. I can't do it every day, I'm sure. But let's see. West Texas has about as many trees as Englandine does hair follicles. You. It's there, but if you aren't looking, you won't notice them. Oh my goodness. I've got the what you call it, the Picard going on.
Yeah.
That's me. Or what I call the reverse mohawk. Just get rid of the middle. Yeah.
Well, I was saying earlier, yeah, with one of the main characters, his father, he is an example of a flat arc character, because you see, like, he's already like gone through like his journey, but that doesn't mean a character with a flat arc doesn't progress, or change. Like Superman, Clark Kent, for example, he's an example of a flat arc character, but that doesn't mean characters with flat arcs do not get challenged.
Right. That is true. Let's see. MK says, I asked a Comic Vine an interesting question. Who'd win in close quarters, no gun, hand-to-hand, basic weapons between John Wick and Jaws from James Bond? Okay, I would have to go with John Wick. A strong, fast man could beat an even stronger slow man. And Jaws was an even stronger. He's a damn near super strong, and it would take a lot to take him out, because even in Spy Who Loved Me, I do believe he had a building dropped on him, a car run into him. So it won't be an easy fight, but I do believe you said no guns, but you didn't say you can't use environment. And I think John Wick ultimately would be able to wear him down the same way James Bond did in Spy Who Loved Me. That would be my take on it. Let's see. But there's something to be said about that. John Wick would have to hit Jaws 1,000 times versus Jaws hitting him once. If Jaws gets a good shot on him and he continues his attack, John Wick is pretty much done. Let's see. What are we talking about? There's also a Leia figure. Wait, what are we talking about? I have a pretty cool clone Palpatine action figure from the Dark Horse comics years before the Rise of Skywalker movie shit. Hey, those sequel movies were awesome.
Let's talk about the original universe for Star Wars before it was bought by Disney.
Right. He was just not crazy, definitely. Tony, okay, there we go. All righty. There we go. I don't know if you have anything to say about the Metabarons. By all means, go on ahead. I think I've talked it out. I want to see this going. I'll tell you what. Like I said, this guy can be a one-trick pony, but I want to see the side characters develop, because so far it's been, here's a side character, isn't he awesome? Dead. Here's a side character. Okay, well, no. Oh, here's a new. Oh, yeah, that one's gone too. So yeah, I really think they need to start bringing in some more characters.
Oh, that. Oh, don't worry. That. Right, it does happen like after like out of the initial like 5 issues.
Hmm.
Because as mentioned before, like this is a with Metabarons, it's a science fantasy epic, and the events and the changes that each brings with them, and like it actually like, leaves meaningful, long-lasting ripple effects. In other words, status quo is not God.
Okay. So would you recommend Metabarons?
Yeah, I would recommend like Metabarons like for anyone who's a fan of say like Berserk, or even like even like the Warhammer series, either like 40K or even fantasy. Because with Warhammer 40K, hey, like it is science
Okay.
and not strictly sci-fi. But unlike like 40K, hey, like there you can't tell like who's clearly good, evil, or neutral within the world of Metabarons.
Okay. Now, I have to say the same thing. I would recommend it, but there's a big asterisk because it's a very unique and specific type of story. If you are just the superhero type, this isn't going to appeal to you. I also,
But but if you are a fan, but if you're a fan of other genres of fiction besides capes,
yeah,
then that'll actually be up your alley.
definitely superhero, not superhero, but sci-fi fantasy, like you said. Um, it's if you like war books, this is very much it. This is, you know what? I was comparing it to Dune, but there's a movie that you guys, if you haven't seen it, you should. It's called Sisu, and
Yeah,
it's about a soldier in World War II that is just hunting Nazis. It's one of the most violent things I've seen. This guy very much also reminds me of Sisu.
yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's an incredible
And,
movie. Yeah,
and yeah, that was actually that's what I was throw that in. Like if you're a fan of Dune, then like by the original author Frank Herbert and Berserk, then you would enjoy the science fantasy epic that is the Metabarons.
yeah. All right, but there you go. There you go. That's our Meta Barons review. Okay. And by the way, I'm going to do this just because I'm going to do this. C5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that tells me that's my chop it here, and the rest is just conversation. Because I actually have a few videos I haven't posted where I've taken the end of all our shows because we tend to just do a hangout after. But I would like to address something Spiffy said. I mentioned how the sequel Star Wars movies are they're amazing movies. I think they're incredibly underrated. Some of the best, it's like you think you're watching Star Wars when you see the original trilogy, and you think you're watching Star Wars when you see even the prequels. But it's the sequels that actually, I think, find the essence. And I don't know if it's because you got rid of George Lucas's kind of
Lucas?
clunky direction, or Ivan, what is the name? Ivan Reitman's direction in Empire. You
Yeah,
could
Evan
tell it was
Reitman.
just, yeah, it was a bit off. It wasn't there. Um, you needed the modern stuff. You needed the modern stuff because it found the emotion of it. Now, Spiffy's saying that these were the worst versions, but I'm sorry, I did not see Princess Leia flying through space once in the original trilogy. There is no sacrifice of love that has one spaceship ramming another spaceship out of the way in order to get a kiss out of it. There's so many correct choices were made in the original or the sequel trilogy. And I think it's about time these movies got their due. I mean, okay, so here's one thing. We're watching Force Awakens. And a lot of people are, look, okay, we get it. This is just a better version of Star Wars: A New Hope. We're watching that, and we get an idea. Hey, look, okay, we got it. This guy's going to be the big bad. This guy's going, and we get Ray even. Hey, where's Luke Skywalker? We need to bring him into the fight. And then when we get Last Jedi, we know Luke Skywalker is going to join the fray. All right, let's go. We're going to kick some ass. And his rejection of that role immediately, I mean, that was almost with a sigh of relief because now I know I'm not going to see what I expected to see, but I'm going to get something brand new and, in my opinion, particularly better. Please, by all means.
We already had a sequel trilogy, and that started with Heir to the Empire and ended with The Last Command. Like those are they are the true sequel trilogy to Star Wars. Not what was ultimately given to people after Disney bought Lucasfilms.
So you're talking about like books?
Yes.
Well, you can't really flesh out a character in a book the way you can a movie.
But the Throne trilogy, essentially, they were ripe to be adapted into a full-length movie, but on the higher ups just chose to not do them.
Yeah, I heard so. Okay, hold on. Spiffy replied, Englantine, I'm not talking about the original trilogy. I'm talking about Legends, Star Wars, the old books, the comics, the games. Oh, what do they call it? The extended universe or something like that.
No,
right?
the expanded universe.
Expanded universe. There we go.
Yes,
Okay.
and they are the canon like of Star Wars before they were decanonized. It's like again like by the higher ups.
Alrighty. By the way, I am having a really hard time keeping a straight face on this one. I really am. But I did for as long as I can because Rhaegar goes, that's bait. It's better if Dalton's here because Dalton really falls for it, by the way. Force Awakens is better than A New Hope, a phrase he says ironically was sadly a real thing I used to say 10 years ago. Wow, really? Okay, it took me years for the veil to lift over my eyes. Actually, I didn't mind Force Awakens. And yes, I can watch it. It's its own thing. But they really should have had a meeting and said, this is the story and this is how it's going to go. We got the beginning, the middle, and the end. Because what they end up doing, it was kind of, there's a DC comic book series, and it was in the 1970s. There was a recent one with Commandy. I think it was Commandy. Oh, the DC Challenge. And what the DC Challenge was like, I'll write and draw an issue of the comic, and then I send it to Dominic, and he takes the story that I wrote, and without a script, he continues it in any way, shape, or form he wants to. And then he passes it on to Rhaegar. Rhaegar does his, and so forth and so on. That's the way they did the sequel trilogy. So it's so freaking disconnected. Yeah. I did, however, I liked Last Jedi a lot better than what some people do. I over time, it has kind of eroded my appreciation for these Star Wars bits, because if I want good Star Wars bits, I could go to other movies. There's no need for Last Jedi. There's absolutely no need for Force Awakens. I pause, so if you want to take this, Dominic.
Or you could have play the games, the Clone Wars multimedia project, and even after the Thrawn trilogy, because because again, like they are the true sequel trilogy to Star Wars, and eventually what happens afterwards is the Yuuzhan Vong War, and that was another example of the next epic. Because with the Yuuzhan Vong, they are tough mother effers, and you do not want to underestimate them at all. And there are like character deaths, but they're not in vain. Plus, they're treated with respect. Because again, with the original expanded universe, it was like the creators had every opportunity to adapt them, whether it's animation or live action for film or TV, to really like bring
No. Did we lose you? Okay, this is one of those things where I wonder if I bounced or did he. So let me know there, guys. I don't know if I'm about to drop. Okay, you guys, let me know if you can hear me or if I'm about to drop. I haven't done this in a while. I don't think. Hello, Dom? Hello. Dom?
Still here.
Okay, did I drop or did you?
Both.
Okay.
Both was dropped.
Okay, we can hear you. Alrighty. Okay, yeah, I didn't get the last part you said. You just kind of, for me,
Well,
dropped anyway.
Well, what I said earlier before like the program dropped me, is like is again like with the original expanded universe before it was canonized after Disney bought Lucasfilms. It was like those works like could have been adapted either live action or animation while these actors were still in their prime, even before Carrie Fisher's death.
I've thought about this about Warner Brothers forever and a day, and I will say the same thing about Lucasfilms. They stabbed themselves in the foot. At the very least, these could have been straight to HBO TV shows or animation. I think when they finally did, what was it? The one that the movie that introduced us to Ahsoka. It was in theaters. I showed it in my theater.
And that would be. That would be the Clone Wars, first from 2008.
Yeah. When they did that, I thought, now that's what they've been doing, should have been doing. And you're right. The Star Wars sequels, they had this lush lore, just an incredible lore of at that point in time, 30 years worth of books, video games,
comics
that they could have drawn upon, and instead. Okay, what are we going to do? Well, let's do the first movie all over again. Let's not do Heir to the Empire. Let's not do Splinter of the Mind's Eye or anything that.
Which Splinter of the Mind's Eye? It takes place after again what it was called just Star Wars instead of Episode 4, with the prequel trilogy because it started with Episodes 1 through 3. It takes place after Episode 4, but before Episode 5.
Mm-hmm. The funny thing is if you're on the phone talking to somebody, you could tell if they're 50 because they just say Star Wars. There's no A New Hope. There's no such thing as A New Hope. It's Star Wars, Empire, and Jedi. Done. And just Star Wars is the entire franchise because that's the first movie. I don't know of too many people who are my age who actually say Star Wars, A New Hope, but that's just me. Let's see.
But again, with Splinter of the Mind's Eye, that could have been adapted as a movie. Oh no, not as a movie because it is even though it's just one book, like the chapters, like they can be adapted into an episode for a mini series, or not a mini, a maxi series for the TV.
At the very least, I think Lucas should have started an animation studio and just let's put these books out as cartoon movies, even or a cartoon series. There could have been an ongoing TV series as long as One Piece at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Rhaegar.
Go ahead. They could have even reached out to the animation team that are responsible for the original Marvel animated universe and the DC animated universe. Hire them so they can collaborate in bringing these books to life, either as animated movies or TV shows.
Yeah. Let me get a couple of comments here. Thrawn was so good, he had to be put in the new Disney stuff. Which one did he show up in? Was that Ahsoka?
It was Ahsoka. Yeah. It was Ahsoka. However, but he even appeared before then. He appeared in Rebels, Pure Rebels in animation, then Ahsoka later, but it's not really the same character that people like know and love when he made his debut in Heir to the Empire.
All right.
Because that's what really bothers people. Like Disney decanonized the original expanded universe, and yet they're cherry picking.
Yeah. Instead of giving us those epic stories that everybody loved, they're going, oh, we're going to write this shitty story with Space Witch. By the way, I have not seen episode 1 of Acolyte. I tried to watch, because I will watch damn near anything with Rosario Dawson in it. I tried to watch Ahsoka, but I was bored 10 or 15 minutes in, so I really haven't
Yeah,
finished episode
I don't
1 of
blame you.
that.
And I kind of can't help but feel bad for Rosario Dawson because she has shown like in the past that she is a genuine nerd. Like
Yeah.
she loves comic books. She loves Eastern storytelling and and everything else in between. Yet, when she is given the script, sort of like for Ahsoka, and to her credit, she worked with what she had.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still can't help but feel sorry for her and the others involved in that project.
Yeah, if you're working with a bad script, it's damn near impossible to make something good. Rhaegar says, when you watch Force Awakens first time, you think it's cool. When you watch it the second time, you realize your mistake. Well, I've watched it 3 or 4 times. I do have it on Blu-ray. There's a used DVD store down here, and it's like if you buy 2, you get 1 free. And I keep seeing Last Jedi and what's the other one? The Rise of Skywalker. And I'm thinking, okay, I could get those 2 and something that I actually like. And it's just the completion in me, the completionist in me it keeps me going, should I get these? I just haven't been able to make that leap yet. Spiffy is saying, exactly. Dominic gets it. Zinj, Thrawn, Emperor's Hand, The Empire Reborn, SWTOR, KOTOR, the original Mandalorian Wars. There's so much, and Disney scrapped it so they can make the bad tip-offs. Yeah.
Really like with Star Wars, like when the 3D animated like Clone Wars was happening, you started to see the chinks in the armor. Even though like Filoni, he did not write or direct all of the episodes, so you can tell that he didn't do his like full research, nor did he like have any respect to the original expanded universe and the characters involved. I mean, one of the notable examples is the Night Sisters, like in the animated series, because they're portrayed as this like malevolent force, whereas like in the source material, they're not.
Okay.
No, he just made them appear to be villainous.
And I do have a rule, so I have to ask you, if you use that phrase again, please use Asians in armor. Let's see. We have Spiffy saying, "I tried." I'm sorry. That was a joke I had to go for. Okay,
don't worry, man. I caught the joke.
I tried giving the Disney stuff a chance, but when Kylie Ren is so blatantly Jason Solo ripoff with the costume of Darth Raven, and the whole story is just a Dark Empire ripoff, I mean, I can't. You know what? I have no idea what most of that means.
But Jason Solo involved him like being introduced and a part of the dark side for a while in the original expanded universe.
Now, Austin is saying, last time I rewatched the sequel trilogy was when I truly saw their endless flaws without coping with an excuse for them. They all fail by death of 1,000 cuts. Yeah, it's like you can enjoy this, and that's pretty cool. And over here, they do something pretty cool. And there's a rule, by the way. You have to have like 5 moments in a movie that they could put in a trailer. It's got to be 5 action moments.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch, like, these would be great clips on YouTube or something. You watch this scene, oh, that's very exciting. But when you put it together as a whole, it is Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. By the way, I will ask any of you, because I have not gotten the answer to this. What happened to the horses? It's in Rise of Skywalker. What happened to the horses? So Tony Hayes says, I remember hearing a story about a lady who left the movie theater crying hysterically when asked what the matter is. She said it's so awful. I can believe that actually happened. The Clone War movies was my first Star Wars movie, says Austin. I saw it in theaters. I'm sad to say I showed it in theaters. I'm happy to say. Let's see. I do love Thrawn's reaction when he learns that Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan.
Yeah, see, so again, like ever since Ahsoka made her debut, it just makes sense, from an in-universe standpoint, that she should have been killed. Like when the second Jedi Purge happened, after Anakin was fully been taken by the dark side, through Palpatine's manipulations, because she could not have survived by Order 66.
Now MK is asking, how would I compare the newer Star Wars sequels versus the Star Trek remakes with Chris Pine? Well, you got the Star Wars sequels, and then you've got the Star Trek remakes. Oh, hold on. Here, let me. Star Wars sequels, Star Trek. That's they're not comparable. Star Trek is so much better. And I know a lot of people don't like the Chris Pine Star Treks because it's more action oriented than exploration and philosophically is the original Star Treks were. But Star Trek still had its action, and you can't forget one of the greatest things that I think Star Trek lost in the 90s and 2000s Renaissance is the sense of humor, the campiness.
Yeah, even in the original Star Trek series and in the movies leading into Next Generation, humor was left intact.
And that is in the remakes of the movie. So to me, I thought they did a very good job with the science, the philosophical nature of Star Trek, but they just added a shit ton more action on it, and it was better choreographed action. Watch Mr. Sulu when they have to go down to the tower and they're in the spacesuits. The guy in the red spacesuit gets knocked away. He gets killed right away. But when Mr. Sulu lands, he kicks all sorts of ass. One of the things that, oh goodness gracious, oh my, that actor,
George Takei.
He said one of his favorite scenes was when his mind's been taken over and he's running around like Errol Flynn with a sword. I mean, it's not great choreography, but it would have been great for him even to have a modern day choreographer to give him a really good sword fight or a really good martial arts fight. So I enjoy the Star Trek. Now I'm more of a Star Trek guy than a Star Wars guy. Also,
I'm both.
Yeah, me too. But with Star Trek, I gotta watch it. The only thing that didn't was Discovery. I didn't think Discovery was as bad as a lot of people were saying, but it did something worse than be bad. It was boring. I will take bad over boring any day, because even bad, I might finish something bad and enjoy it on its level. Well, that was shit. Like we watched The Room. The Room is a horrible, horrible film. But it's so horrible. It's entertaining. You can actually begin to get taken in by the rules of its filmmaking, and you can enjoy it. And so I can take a bad TV show or a bad movie and enjoy it a hell of a lot more than a boring movie. And that's why I love watching Star Trek V, but Star Trek the motion picture is okay. I'll watch that because it's part of it's number one, But
I've been seeing anything in the director's cut for the motion picture, because it's an improvement.
It's one of the only director's cuts that is actually shorter than the theatrical release. There's a lot more director's cuts, no matter what you're looking at, Aliens, Terminator, whatever. They add stuff to it that got cut.
Weapon.
Yeah, but with Star Trek the motion picture, they didn't have time to take out and edit a lot of the sci-fi shots. So what was that long, slow thing around the Enterprise, or that long entrance into the nebula and all that kind of stuff. It was planned to cut some of that time out and edit it so it didn't take as long to go through all those. So the director's cut actually has a whole bunch of stuff taken out.
Yeah, I'll say, besides the director's cut for the motion picture, and to this day, I still love the director's cut for the Wrath of Khan, because it actually helped like fill in the gaps. Yeah, like in
Yep.
between scenes, because you felt like, wait a minute, really, something's missing here. And when you watch the director's cut, and even if you watch the deleted scenes from the DVD of Wrath of Khan, you can't help but ask, why did you guys cut these out?
Yeah, that does happen with some scenes. I refuse to watch Terminator and Aliens without that extra footage anymore. With the Aliens has the gun turrets in the hallway and all that kind of. I refuse to watch it. Yeah,
you can say the same thing for Terminator 2 Judgment Day, where you'll watch the director's cut more than the theatrical.
Absolutely. Oh, and what was I just saying? RoboCop. I have to see the hand get blown off, and I got let's get the part that would have been X-rated in the 80s. Yeah. Let's see what do we got going on here. We've got Though I do have fond memories, says Austin, because I used to write fan letters to Lucasfilm as a kid, and got back a letter. I didn't know if it was automated, but they included a white button. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I miss the days like where studios and publishers, be it like for novels and comics, they actually they not only take time like to read the fan letters, but also like respond to them. Like even like if the fan letter like gives like a work like a negative review, but it's honest and doesn't toy things around. Nowadays, like when you are giving like honest, objective critique, taking like the studios and publishers would not post like in the letter columns. Cause like they're just like pretty much love bombing like a work, but in text form instead of actually seeing like the full honest reviews of work.
Tony Hayes is saying, "Do not watch The Acolyte. You don't tell me what to do. I do what I want. I'm watching The Acolyte tonight, motherfucker."
Well, even like Rhaegar, he's saying like J.J. Abrams is hated by film critics because of his style. He's known for not knowing how to end things in the third act, and also having formulaic mystery box MacGuffins in the films, which are just magic. And people haven't. It's been shown that people are getting sick and tired of the mystery box,
The mystery
not only
box,
in films but also in games as well. It's pretty much Abrams and his style of like writing and directing. It gave off a similar effect to like Whedon and his approach to storytelling. So like their double-edged sword, and it became more of a net negative for storytelling.
It would seem like M. Night Shyamalan with his twist. Every movie has to have a twist. Well, after a while, you've trained your audience to look for the twist, so it's not really one. As a matter of fact, I remember when I watched The Village, it took me out of the story because I was like, oh, okay, so the twist is going to be this. Instead of watching the story, I was trying to figure out what the twist was going to be. So, yeah, you can't do it all the time. Spiffy says, oh, my God, Angel and Team, don't get me started on the Space Witches. I was so tempted to watch it for the Night Sisters alone. Then I saw the video, The Power of Many, and I decided it's best not to. I was thinking about it because now, like right now, I'm in the middle of watching the MCU for its timeline, and it starts with Captain Marvel, which, yes, I watched again. And it goes all the way through and includes everything, the TV shows, the Netflix shows, everything. And I'm in the middle of season 2 of Daredevil right now, which is a freaking joy. You don't really have to convince me to watch Daredevil again. But so I was looking at it. I should do Star Wars the same way. Let's start at the very beginning and just watch the timelines. I want to watch the timeline of Star Wars. And then it goes, I look on Disney Plus, Star Wars timeline, and there's the first thing. The earliest timeline thing they have is Acolyte. And I'm like, can I do this? Can I freaking do this? Because I haven't seen one episode. I did not want to be that guy who I'm hate watching something just so I could get clicks. You guys notice we didn't really do Riri Williams' TV show either. I watched 30 minutes of the first episode of Ironheart. You know what? I've got more years behind me than I do ahead of me. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe sometime I'll do that. Maybe I'll do a live viewing, and those of you who are in the know can watch me suffer, and we could see if my viewing of Acolyte will make me throw up the same way my viewing of Cuties did. So, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, like to say, I'd say like if you're tired and don't want to give Disney any more of your money, like, because you don't want to support Disney Star Wars based on principle, then yeah, just go go find the real sequel trilogy starting with Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn, and ending with the third book, like The Last Command, and book 2 being Dark Force Rising, and eventually it leads you to Legacy, where it focuses on a descendant of Luke, Mr. Jade, where at first like he doesn't want to like embrace his destiny and like bring the galaxy like back into order and balance. But you actually see him go through an arc where he embraces his family, his lineage again. Yeah, because like he went through hardships like even before like Legacy started. Because with Star Wars, it's not afraid to go into dark and mature places, but it does not. It makes sure to not become darkness-inducing apathy, because that's not what Star Wars is. It's very hopeful and uplifting. And now with Metabarons, it's science fantasy like Star Wars, but it's not grimdark. Excuse me, it's not grimdark like Warhammer 40K, but it's not very bright like Star Wars either. Because it's an epic. Filled with twists and turns. You connect with characters that you hope that in the end, and like they'll survive. But if they end up kicking the bucket, then you'll at least win them like going down like swinging and not out like a chump.
Okay. I could do that, but I also like the idea of doing a video where it's just first reaction. You know what? I was actually talking to Gail. We're bringing boxes in from our storage, and I'm just grabbing. I'm not even looking. Grabbing, putting down, and we go through everything. We want to keep this. Everything else goes to either the trash or the flea market. This is stuff that's been in the storage shed for a year, which means we haven't used it for a year, which means we might have a little nostalgia for it. We don't need it. So, but some things, obviously, we're not throwing away everything. If we want to keep it, we can keep it. And I ran into my Stephen King novels. I used to have them all, but I just kind of fell away. Like I stopped reading them for a while. And I was looking at him. I go, you know what, Gail? I haven't read a book, I got to say, in a decade, maybe. That's weird. Well, no, that's not true, because I have read like Slugfest. I've read the Secret Origin of Marvel Comics, the buyer, whatever, the story of Marvel. I've read all of these books about comics and their novels. Like right now, I'm reading the Secret Origin of Wonder Woman, which is basically the story of how Marsden created Wonder Woman and what his plans are, so forth, so on. You even get a little bit of his life and what's going on. So those are the books I've read, but I haven't read like a novel, like a fictional novel or anything like that in about 10 years that didn't have pictures with it. You know, if it didn't have the word graphic in front of it, I haven't read it. So, which I got to say is not a brag, by the way. Let's see. I'm way behind on these. I apologize, guys. I'm going to skip a few. I missed the joke, but heard Asians got cute. Oh, yeah. He said the phrase, there was a chink in the armor. And I said, we don't use slurs, so please say Asian in the armor next time. He is out as far as I know. He wanted to go out, so I let him out. Tony Hayes says, please score me some good quality Dark Horse Star Wars comic books at a low price when you can. That would be great. Don't tell anyone. There were a couple of weeks where I was able to grab some. If I can find them, I absolutely will, because those, if it says Marvel, and if it's not 1970s or 80s, I am not selling it. That is, well, maybe Darth Vader. I think Darth Vader is the exception to the rule. I can sell Darth Vader, but yeah, modern Marvel Star Wars does not sell for me. Dark Horse, on the other hand, it does. But once again, I don't put 5, 10, 15 in very much Star Wars. Let's see what we got to do. Chris Pine's dad was, and Punch. Yeah, he was, the commanding officer in that. It's not Chris Pine's fault. It's J.J. Abrams. So I still like those movies. I like the Star Trek movies. How about you? Do you like the Star Trek remakes?
No, they're fine with fun. Yeah, excuse me. They are fine for what they are, but I don't rewatch them.
Okay.
Yeah, because really, I don't really like. I understand like what Abrams was doing like when he did that instead of making a new Star Trek movie, either for like Deep Space Nine, Voyager, or even Enterprise, because we have, because for a while we do not have any new Star Trek movies after Nemesis.
Okay. No, I actually enjoy them all. My daughter's crossing. Did you go out and want it? He's an indoor cat. He'll come in when he's ready.
It's midnight.
Okay. She's worried about the cat.
No, I understand.
Yeah. Michael Bay isn't bad. He just doesn't do the story. The guy could make action sequences where mace hitting grass causes an explosion. He does it well.
No, he's not wrong.
It's true.
Wrong. Really, if he's in the producer tape chair, and like he's teamed up like with a great writer and a director, then Bay really shines, because really after all these years, like I don't hate the guy, but I will say he tends to get overhated as a director, because somehow some people, they want to be willfully ignorant that he has not made any good movies. It was like when he made the transition from music video director to filmmaker. That's not true. Like even before like he did Transformers, he had made quality films.
Well, the thing is, he got Pearl Harbor. You know, people loved Armageddon. People loved Bad Boys. Well, when Pearl Harbor came out, that was the Asian in the armor. And sorry, I just noticed I had a gift from Pistachio.
That's all right.
But when that came out, it was almost like Michael Bay became a joke. Now, to me, I think Michael Bay is a great action director. Oh, by the way, yes, I can, Tony. I'm getting your stuff boxed up, and I'm sending you and Eric and Boyd and Michael Taylor. I'm sending you some books. So let's see. But yeah, I was where I had a problem with Michael Bay was that he doesn't know when not to do an action scene.
And that remains like one of my critiques with Bay as well.
The Bad Boys 3 has like a 40-minute road chase. You don't need it. There were so many car chases in Bad Boys. I think it might have been 2. Point being is it was just one, there were too many. 2, it went on for too long. My favorite movie of his is The Rock. I love The Rock. But that chase through San Francisco, not necessary. not necessary. It's like it's like he went. He goes, well, I need to get my characters from point A to point B, and we could either have the little transition or we could have big explosions and we could tear up San Francisco. Let's do that. It added time to the movie that wasn't necessary. And now I don't mind it in The Rock, but when you get to movies like Bad Boys and such, where it's just like, okay, or Transformers, my God, Transformers was so bad. Like the first one was all right, but after a while, it's like, one more, you're doing it again. We just saw this in another setting. But yeah, it's. I think Michael Bay needed to learn to kind of scale it down a bit. After The Rock is a movie I absolutely believe he did, but it may be because it was based on a true story, and that's 13 Hours. 13 Hours is. It might actually be my favorite movie over The Rock if I put them side by side sometime.
Yeah,
Once
similar to M Night, and like he had other makings to be with like one of the greats, one of the great directors, like Akira Kurosawa, Spielberg, Lucas.
That's high praise indeed.
Hey, like he mentioned in older interviews that Spielberg is one of his major influences to become a filmmaker, and really like we hit his peak with Unbreakable, which before it turned into a series. Like he started like instead of actually continuing to actively listen to critiques. He's like he started falling for his own hype. Like and he's like leaning too hard onto the twists, because like in his films, which has really become a double-edged sword.
Well, you have in Lady in the Water, you have a character who is a film critic that gets blasted. So yeah, he definitely listened to the critiques of his movies. One Slick, I think you do. I think you have a short box. I know a short box. I know Dark Admiral. I know you do as well. Let's see. What do we got going on? It seems that both sci-fi franchises that Abrams touched turned to crap. I didn't mind. Like, I'm not going to say that about Star Trek. I actually enjoyed the Star Trek franchise.
Even though like, it does have its issues.
It does. Yeah. In the first movie, they use Sabotage as background music, and then they actually use it as a plot point in the third film. And one of the I think Beyond, Star Trek Beyond or something like that, which I always think this. I'm granted, there's people who still listen to classical music. You know, Claire de Lune is one of my favorite classical pieces.
No, right?
But there's music between Claire de Lune and now. And I always wondered that when you go into the future, when you have a future world, it's you remember the 20th century musical piece Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. Okay, yeah. But they never say, oh, you remember, like if it's the year 2000, they go, do you remember the year 19? Well, I guess that's just it. If you go to like the year 4000, they never say, do you remember the 3998 hit, blah, blah, blah. They never do that kind of stuff. It's always, let's go back to the 20th century and talk about it. Austin, again, Bay can't do story. That's his issue. He makes the coolest fight. Yeah, definitely he needs a script writer. That's for sure. All right, One Slick. M. Night Shyamalan has actually some good movies, but people like to pretend he doesn't. It's very annoying. I don't.
Again, similar with Michael Bay.
Yeah. I like some of the newer stuff. Some of the newer stuff I don't. I love The Visit, by the way. That was good.
It definitely serves a comeback for M. Night.
Old didn't always follow its own rules. You know, a whole group of people get there, and there is a guy and his girlfriend that have been there for a while, and they're not any older than when we saw them first. It doesn't always live up. I actually didn't.
And not many people know Well, that it's actually based off of a bande dessinée called Sandcastle.
That's right. That's right. I did read that, by the way, and it is pretty good. It is based on a graphic novel, a French graphic novel. It's a comic book movie, kids. Let's see. Not the same thing with Michael Bay. He is no good. Well, once again, I'm gonna have to agree to disagree. You're not going to convince me 13 Hours isn't good. You're not going to convince me The Rock isn't good. Armageddon is a lot of fun. The original Bad Boys I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's. Granted, you can also convince me that he's got some bad movies. I don't like the Bad Boys sequels. Just don't. I think they're overblown. I think they're very indulgent. I like the action sequences in Pearl Harbor, but the story itself, it is the script, it is the story that it's like you can tell he focused on one part of it and didn't focus on the rest. It would have been more. I think it would have been a better movie to you introduce the characters. You keep the whole love triangle out of it. You don't need it. You introduce the characters, the main two characters, and you can have every bit of it without that romantic triangle shit, straight up to the point where his dead friend comes back. You can even have him think, my friend's dead. He returns, and then the two of them volunteer to go off on the mission with Paul Dooley and such. And the one that thought his friend was dead ends up dying. Yeah, you'd probably have more of an emotional impact because the movie would be focused on their friendship rather than a love triangle that ended up making them not friends for a while. And if you focused on that, I think Pearl Harbor would have been a good, tight film. But unfortunately, yeah, what it did. Let's see.
I'll say like briefly with for the Bad Boys sequels. Starting with Bad Boys for Life, which honestly it could have been switched out with Bad Boys Ride or Die, and then after that would be Bad Boys for Life, which would have made more sense. Well, when the new directors came in and continue where the buddy cop duo left off, it's still they were treated with respect. Instead of belittling them or even mocking like the hyper masculinity of the first two movies. Those sequels treated like the previous two films with respect.
Okay. All right. So MK is asking a question. How would you compare Bay's best movie versus Zack Snyder's best movie? Would you say Watchmen was Snyder's best? I would say I've got that big black. You see it. It's a black box with the Watchmen, the happy facing on it. So I've got the whole kit and caboodle. So that's the way I watch the Watchmen. It's absolutely better. That's his absolute best movie. Oh wait, no, actually, Justice League. I would say the Justice League, the Snyder cut, is Snyder's opus. It is. It's his best film, hands down. How would that compare to Michael Bay's best film, which I would count as either The Rock or 13 Hours? No, it beats it down like a narc at a biker rally. I mean, seriously, it is. I don't think it's comparable. That doesn't mean that I think Snyder's any better than Michael Bay. I would have to 1-to-1. I know I dug Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. That was fine. Sucker Punch. It was okay. It wasn't as bad as some people make it out to be. It's not as good as other people make it out to be. It was only okay. Yeah. That was fine. The Guardians of Galul was okay. But that's what I think about a lot of Zack Snyder movies. It was fine. It was okay. I think Watchmen was great. I think JLA was great. So I don't know. Maybe if they just let him loose and do whatever the hell he wants, make a 5-hour epic, it'll be better. But unfortunately, we got proven that doesn't always work with what are those called? Rebel Moon good Lord, did those suck. I mean, that was, oh my gosh, that was bad. And that's something. Think of Michael Bay's worst film, and is it as bad as Rebel Moon? I can't think of a film that Michael Bay did that I would say is as bad as Rebel Moon. So I don't know.
Well, Rebel Moon is Snyder.
Yeah, that was the thing. Compares Snyder versus Michael Bay, and I'm saying the worst of Michael Bay is better than the worst of Zack Snyder.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, but the best of Michael Bay, I don't know if it's better than Justice League, and that might be my superhero bias. But Justice League, in my opinion, the Snyder cut was amazing. What about Ambulance? It wasn't bad. I actually enjoyed it. It's a great distraction for while it's on. I just don't see it being one of the movies that, like, if you were to, okay, quick, pick out your favorite Michael Bay movies. Ambulance wouldn't be one of the ones that popped into my head.
I remember when I watched the trailer for Ambulance, I actually want to see it in theaters because it looked promising.
And I do agree with Desert Rose that the best parts of Lady in the Water were Paul Giamatti and the Chinese Family.
I agree.
The least part was, it's like, oh, dude, do you have to put yourself in every movie? I like
That's not
Signs.
necessary.
Yeah, I like Signs, to tell you the truth. I know that's gotten especially since the what's his name, the Nostalgia Critic, since he blasted it. I don't know a lot of people who respect Signs anymore, but I enjoyed it.
I actually recently rewatched Signs, and it still holds up as one of Night's best movies.
But yeah, those are okay. All righty, let's see what else. What else do we have to do or go on here, guys?
Well, what's the next series we'll be reading for Monday?
Well, we're gonna bounce back to what we should be doing, because this was actually the 18th video. But why not? Let's do it. And we're going to be talking about Jack Kirby's Devil Dinosaur.
All right.
So that will be next week. Read the book so you guys can join the conversation about the book. And we're going to talk some Jack Kirby comics.
No, I'm looking forward to rereading Devil Dinosaur.
Yeah, I've got the trade paperback on my shelf, so I'll probably be going through it just to remind. And we could talk about the entire series. I'm good with that. Signs, that's it. It wasn't the biggest fan. That ending was dumb to me. A lot of people felt the same way. I liked because Paul Giamatti and the Chinese mother and daughter that were in the movie. I thought it was okay. A few scary parts that I had to close my eyes during. I thought that the Village could have been a good frightening film, but I think it
could have been.
I think he dropped the ball by putting 2 twists in it.
Yeah.
Make it a monster movie, or make it a movie about people who are living in the 18th century, but then you find out they're in modern century. I think it would be fun that if the things that were haunting them were actually observers, because this town didn't know it was modern day. I think that would have been something, that people have discovered this town that doesn't know it's the year, whatever it was, like 2025. And so they're observers, and it comes off like a haunting. It comes off like a thing. And in order to scare them away, they put on these monster outfits and such. That would be how I would have done it, rather than, oh my gosh, this guy's stabbed, I've got to go through the woods. And then we find out it's Joaquin Phoenix. Give a reason, a better reason for why the monsters are attacking. And I think the better way would have been if they were being observed by people who knew it was 2025 and knew what this village was, but the village didn't know what they were. So anyway, but that's the way I would.
If you ask me, it should have been a straight monster movie.
Okay.
And if you want to keep the isolation where the people of the town don't realize that it's actually the modern era, you can actually set up like where that the still make it a straight monster movie, but like the twist is like the monsters actually placed a time bubble, if you will, that actually kept them, as they kept the
Okay.
people like living like in that particular decade. Okay, so if any of them like any of them like knew the truth, surely they would actually come in and attack, and which would actually lead into to the master controlling the monsters.
All right. That being said, kids, come back next week for Devil Dinosaur by Jack Kirby. And of course, the after party, which seems to last just as long. And tomorrow we are doing the bracket fights for season 15 of our cover rankings. And that should be fun. And we are starting the new season, which is Ethereal Dragons. He bought 16 episodes. You could do that too. Go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $5 in the till, and say, hey, I want this to be my video, or $8. You pick out the covers yourselves. And I'm doing so. If you buy 3 at $5, you get 1 free. And that's how he did. He put in 30 and got 8. No, put in 60 and got 16. So there you go. All right. Let's see. That is that. So yeah, don't forget to do all the clicking, the liking, the sharing. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night, guys.
See you all later.